Hey guys, this is Connor with Doc Waterloo. This video is building on our previous video about the updating the car-human body analogy, where we can kind of make the car in the analogy an adaptive machine like the human body. So let's apply this to the capacities that we have, the likelihood of injury that goes with or goes without those capacities. So I've applied that through gears. Everyone's familiar with the idea that their car has gears, I hope. Hopefully you have multiple gears in your car. These gears in a human body, they represent different capacities. So a basic gear 1 machine, if we apply that to the human model, is capable of basic movements with less than a full range of motion. So maybe this human body is capable of walking for a short to medium distance, not full range of motion. They're capable of sitting comfortably for a length of time, not full range of motion. Just very basic things. They're able to pick up grocery bags off the floor and carry them, but again, there's not much beyond that. A gear 2 machine, you have now full range of motion in basic movements, which means if you need to squat to the ground to get something, you can do that. If you need to reach overhead as high as you can or bend forward a little bit, you can do that safely. Or partial range of motion with some strength, which is also kind of injury protective. If you can't bend all the way down, but you have a different strategy for bending down, like the golfer's bend or something like that, and you have strength through that range of motion, you're still safe. You can still accomplish those same tasks that the full range of motion person can do. You just have different strategies, different ways of doing it. So gear 3 means I have full range of motion in lots of different ways, and strength to handle that range of motion. I can squat deeply with good technique and good control and muscle activation in the appropriate places. I can bend forward in the same way. I can press things overhead if I want to. Pretty well anything that you're going to encounter throughout the day, plus some further skills. You move beyond that into gear 4. Person has full range of motion. They have strength through that range of motion, where now we add some explosiveness, we add some power. They're able to adapt to the situation a lot faster than someone who just has strength through that range of motion. So the person that has strength, they can program certain movements that are efficient for them, but if something unexpected comes about or comes to happen, then maybe they're going to be in trouble. This person, not so much. They can adapt quickly. The gear 4 person can adapt quickly into various different stimuli. You take that a bit further, the gear 5 person goes without saying, they have full range of motion, they have full control over those ranges of motion, and they have the ability to tolerate unstable conditions, to tolerate unsafe conditions that would be unsafe for lower gears, and they have the ability to produce power and strength in those positions. So let's kind of look at where you might be, where I might be, and how things change. So when you're a pretty young person, say age 10, you probably have full basic range of motion and movement. You probably can produce some strength there. Yes, full range of motion. Maybe even have some power. Maybe if you did some gymnastics, you did some soccer, you did something like that, you get into some weird positions, you can still produce power there for the sporting context. You're still going to be safe. Let's give you gear 5, because at that point, really, you're pretty indestructible at age 10. Let's go to age 25. Now at age 25, things could have changed pretty dramatically. If you finished high school and you went right into to a sedentary job or something like that, and you didn't go out of your way to play sports, you didn't go out of your way to develop your physical capacity, or at least maintain those things, then maybe you're there. You have basic movements and less than full range of motion. People that have been working at a desk for 5 years and not really working on their mobility and their strength beyond that are oftentimes going to have limited range of motion. Try to touch your toes, try to get anywhere close to that, try to do a full controlled squat, try to deadlift something. It's not pretty in a lot of cases. Or you could also be age 25, and you found out that you have a proficiency for Olympic weightlifting during some of that time period between age 10 and age 25. So Olympic weightlifting demands huge ranges of motion, vast amounts of power, explosiveness, mobility, durability, for sure if you want to be good at it. So you have all of these things. You've kept everything that you had before, and you've probably added on to it. You probably have a sixth gear, because you're probably a lot more powerful than you were when you're age 10, obviously, especially if you're an Olympic lifter. But you have full range of motion. You have control over that range of motion through strength. You can produce power in various parts of the range of motion. You can get into unstable, unsafe positions. So you watch Olympic lifting at the Olympics or at the Pan Am Games or something like that. You see these people get into squat positions that I would cringe at, and it's because I can't tolerate those positions. And most of the people I work with can't tolerate those positions. And if you work with someone who plays basketball or soccer or something like that, maybe they can't tolerate those positions. Maybe they have special positions they can tolerate as well. But the Olympic lifter needs to be able to squat ass to grass, deep as possible, with power. And they need to be able to do it over and over and over again. And that's an ability well beyond what most people are going to have. So they have that fifth gear, they have that sixth gear. What most people end up doing is time goes on, they get focused on work, they don't focus on developing or maintaining their mobility and strength as time goes on. Or they say things like, I think all I have to do to maintain my body is walk a little bit or jog slowly, or what, I'll go on the elliptical for an hour or a couple hours a week, that kind of thing. The problem with that is that you're not exposing your body to full ranges of motion, you're not demanding strength and power from it, you're not exposing it to different stimuli that it has to adapt to, so you're still going to end up here. And what happens when you have situations where you have greater demands than that? So my demands might be cutting the grass. That's a category 1 demand. Most people could do that safely without any really physical preparedness. Shoveling the driveway, maybe that's a 2, maybe that's a 3. If you have only 1 gear at your disposal, you're trying to do something that requires 3 gears, if you're trying to lift a heavy shovel full of snow, and then bend and twist and throw it, that's a gear 3, and that's an injury for you. If you've worked on maintaining your strength and your mobility up to that point, you don't have to worry about it because it is well within your realm of capacity. So that's the problem with just being okay with status quo, with never really trying to develop your physical capacities. If you don't do anything to maintain them and develop them as time goes on, you become more and more susceptible to injury, and you're probably not aware of just how unable you are to tolerate different environments. You want to play some pickup basketball, 90% of it is okay. You don't have to really worry about the range of motion or the forces or anything. If you go out for a rebound and you collide with someone, you go down. Oops, that just required a greater capacity than you have because you haven't worked on it. That's how you get injured. So if you want to prevent an injury, it behooves you to make sure you have as much capacity as possible at any given time. Try applying that to your own training. See if you can develop yourself a little further than you have recently.